Hello wonderful people, it is Sunday, we're in the kitchen, I'm Del, this is Dishes with Del. I've been a chef for 20 plus years and what we do on this channel is teach you guys recipes, skills, how to do all sorts of things. I break it down, make it really simple and easy to follow. So if that sounds like something that you're into, you're in the right place. This week we are learning how to prep artichokes. I did a poll on my Instagram the other day. Turns out, I think 83% of you have eaten them, but no idea how to prep them. And I tell you what I've done, prepped a lot of artichokes in my life. This is a skill I learned many moons ago, probably in my first ever restaurant, so I'm going to teach you. So let's jump into prepping artichokes. This is an artichoke, this is an artichoke, this is how to prep artichokes. I've got one small and one large. I'm going to show you two different techniques. So let's get into it. The first thing when prepping artichokes, we just need 3 or 4 things. A peeler, 2 kinds of knife, and a bowl. In the bowl, 1 lemon squeezed, and this is going to be the water, because the thing is, when you prep artichokes, they go brown super quick, so they need to go into acidic water to keep their colour. So I'll get that ready, and I'm just going to squeeze that half a lemon in there, and then just fill it up with some cold water. And what I've also learned from many a year of prepping artichokes, you probably will end up with stained hands. You end up with like a brown mark on them. It comes from the artichokes, it's like in their skin. You can wear gloves or just deal with it. So the first one we're going to do is the baby artichoke. This one obviously a lot more tender than the large one, and so requires a little less prep. Now you do have to be careful with artichokes because I don't know if you can see here, but the ends all have these tiny little spikes. They're very sharp and they get in the way, so just be careful of them. But the first thing we're going to do on this baby artichoke is pull off some of these leaves. So we're going to pull off the bottom 2 layers. One got me. Oh, honestly, they're such little buggers. Okay, so you can see here, it's actually already starting to discolor. It happens that fast. But I don't know whether you can notice, there's a little bump in the bottom here. So that's the very bottom of the artichoke. And then what we're gonna do is just prep this. So we're gonna cut the top half off and we're gonna use the peeler to scrape off this. So we take that top half off, cut the base to where we want it, and then with a peeler we're going to peel the bottom of this to make it nice and smooth. You may even want to take off 1 or 2 more leaves like that, and then you can really get the last of the end of the leaf nodule off. And that's it. That is all you have to do to a baby artichoke for the prep. So into the water it goes. Make sure it's fully covered, get rid of this. And so now that that's all prepped, we're gonna cut it in half. Make sure that stalk is in half, and then that's it, just like that. And we can cook or grill or pan fry these artichokes, but they do need to go into the acidic water fast, because as you can see, it's browning again already. It happens really quickly. And now to the big one. So big one, similar prep. Cut the bottom off, but we are going to have to do a little bit more to it. So let's start again with the leaves. Little buggers. Okay, that is that. And the same again, like we did with the baby, we're just going to peel this bottom section because we want to make sure that we get rid of all them tough bottoms. So that's all the tough bottoms gone from here. And now with these bigger ones, what we need to do is we need to cut lower to the heart. So we're going to cut all the way down here, all the way to the base, because this is much larger, so it's got much tougher. And then that guy can go into the water too. And that is the prep work done. But now we just need to cook these, and we're going to cook them until they're fork tender. So we'll just put a fork through here. Obviously these 2 will be done before this one, and then I'll show you the last little bit of prep. So what's a good idea is to use some of that acidic water. Pop your artichokes in. And then see here how they've bobbed to the top of the surface. What you want to do is make a little cartouche. So fold up your greaseproof into triangles and make a little and make a little cover. And then sit it on top, let some of the water go over the top, and then they're completely covered. Oh, like some kind of idiot there, I forgot to put any seasoning in it. What you want to do is make sure you give a little bit of salt to your water also as your lemon, and a little stick of rosemary too is always nice. So we'll pop that on the stove, and then when they're knife tender, they can come off. As you can see here, the fork goes through the stem, nice and tender, and so the baby ones are done. But the large one needs a little longer. Artichokes might seem scary to prep, but actually they're not so hard. If you're lucky enough to have some in the garden like I do, I don't always leave them to bloom because I promise you the flower is incredible, but they are also absolutely delicious to eat. So here are our baby ones, and they took about 14-15 minutes to cook, and then this is our large heart. This has been on for about 20-25 minutes. And as you can see, there's still a tiny bit of resistance in the base, but only a little. So what I'm going to do is just leave that there, let it finish cooking in its own steam. So we'll come back to this in a minute, and I'll show you what we need to do with this last one and what I like to do with these. So here we have our little hearts, and this is all good to eat now. So now all I'm going to do with these little ones is probably take off that last one leaf that it's cooked with, because I don't know whether this one is still a little bit purple, whereas the one underneath is perfectly yellow. I always keep that last one on there just to protect it a little bit while it cooks, in case you kind of end up boiling it a bit too fast and next thing you know it's all disintegrated. But this little exterior one keeps it all together a little bit better. I mean, you can eat the very bottom of them. Oh, and they're absolutely delicious. Oh, artichokes. They are so underrated, but they are so great. And then once you've done that last little bit of prep to them, in the dish, I like to just put a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a little tiny bit of olive oil, and just a few little slithers of garlic into that oil. This is a great way to marinate your baby artichokes. You just pop them in there, and you know, if you were doing a whole bunch of these, you could just put them all in a bowl. The same thing, you know, you're not necessarily going to eat them garlic cloves, they're just for a little bit of flavour, but you know, they can just sit in that and just take on all that flavour. And it is best to do them while they're warm, but I haven't got any time to wait, so I'm just going to eat one now. They are just so delicious. Even after the millions and millions of them that I've prepared in my life, I'm not absolutely scarred by it, and I still truly enjoy eating a delicious baby artichoke. So that there is baby artichokes, and now we'll just finish off the big one. With this one, we're going to do something slightly different. There's two ways to do this. You can do this before, or you can do it after. I just quite like to do it after because it makes it a little bit easier. Now, see these slightly larger leaves that have started to come off from the side. You can actually eat that base bit. You know, you can just scrape off that cooked bit of artichoke on the bottom. That's like chef's snack. But we just need to, I'll eat that one too. We just need to finish the last little bit of this, because inside here is what they call the choke of the artichoke, and it will make you choke if you eat it. Now this is a very small one, so I wouldn't imagine that there's a lot in there. But a good way to do it, if you haven't taken it out before, is now, while it's cooked, you can just cut it in half. And now, as you can see here, is the furry choke, but you can see a very definitive line in the artichoke. So you can just put your spoon in and scoop it right out. So we'll just do that one last time. Just scoop out that middle little section. Of all that furry stuff. And for these, I'm just going to cut them in half again. And just that very last purple leaf, I'll take off. You know, some of them are sometimes softer than others, but the purple leaf is often the indicator of where it gets tough, and then it turns into non-purple. And these you can nibble on. Yum. And for these big ones, the ultimate way to eat them is with some delicious hollandaise. It's so decadent and so rich, but oh my God, it's incredible. So this is where you get to take some of them little bits on the top. Oh, I mean, these artichokes. Very underrated vegetable, but utterly delicious. Let me know in the comment section down below if this is something that you might try. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on more tips and tricks from me, Del. And I guess I'll see you next week.